big fan of the Tassimo coffee range, especially the Costa Americano, the Colombian, and my favourite Caffè Crema. But I also wanted to try some of the other range that's available, mostly on the website. You can get some of these in other shops, but a lot of these are internet exclusives. So I haven't got the espressos, but I have got nearly all of the coffees that are available currently. It's summer 2014, and I'm going to do a taste test. So I'm going to try all these quite quickly in one day and give my balanced, honest view of what these taste like, both in terms of strength, smoothness, richness, how full or medium bodied they are. The sizes of them are all quite a little bit different. Some of them are quite small, they're only 130ml, 120ml. Some of them are much bigger and they get to the more kind of traditional 215ml, and the largest is of course the Costa Americana, which is also one of my favourites, coming in at sort of 220ml as well. Test of 7 coffees, so I'm doing the bottom row, not the top. The top ones I've already done in a previous video and are my regular mainstay coffees. I've got Petite Dejeuner, the Creme Intenso, Medaille Dior, Caffè Crema Intenso, Monarch or Monarch, a Voluptuoso Colombia and a Voluptuoso Kenya. Now I've got them actually in size order, so although there's 4 Carte Noire and 3 from Jacobs, I've got them going from 215ml, 195ml, 150ml, 140ml, 130ml, 120ml and 120ml. So they're going in size order. I'm not going to use different mugs because I think it's going to be a little bit confusing to actually show what size you actually get. So I'm going to use this same sized mug that I've used in a few other videos because it holds exactly 350 millilitres. So it's quite a big mug. Certainly can take any of these coffees and give you a feeling for how much room you'd have for milk, etc. for those of you that add milk. So as I was saying, this is just a sample of the range. So Tassimo website, it's got a really good range. I'm going to quickly just scroll down, but they don't just do coffees, they do tea, specialty milk and coffee drink, chocolate drinks, etc. What I'm doing here is I'm just focusing in on the coffees. Let's just quickly let that load. And what I've done in this is I've selected everything that isn't an espresso and isn't decaffeinated. So pretty much everything that's available at the moment. So all these green icons here, they use the Tassimo logo all the time. These are saying internet exclusives, and very much you can only get these off their website from the Tassimo shop. Certainly, let's see whether they're worth a purchase. Certainly the prices are very reasonable. They actually come in at either the same or sometimes less than the supermarkets that I go to, so actually quite good deals. And each month you get a special offer. So what actually got me into trying these coffees was the Jacobs Caffè Crema Intenso was actually a special offer, and it's only about £2.80, and you get 16 coffees in there, and although they're 140ml, I actually find them quite good. So a couple of these I've already tried before, so I'm trying not to be unfair in my judgment before I've actually got them all out. The difference here is, of course, I'm going to test them all together, so I'm going to get that whole kind of aroma, acidity, mouth feel, flavour, aftertaste, and the overall kind of balance and any kind of special notes I have about the coffee as I go along. Now each time I'm going to be rinsing my mouth out with water because I think it's only fair. I do add sugar to my coffee, I do drink it black, and what I'm going to do is just go through each pack from the left to the right. So I'm doing them purely on size order because I think it's as fair as any, and let's see how I go. First up, the first one from Carte Noire. One thing to mention about the actual tea discs is they actually are plain black, like quite a lot of the Carte Noire discs, and not this dual colour that the box and the packet infers. As you can see, it already comes with a really nice creme froth. So as I was making this, my machine was quite happily frothing away at the very end, and I've not stirred that as yet. I'm just going to do that now because I've added some sugar. I'm just going to stir it and let you see how it holds together. I also like the spoon, so that's also a good sign of a good thick froth. And now for the taste. I'm not going to do the taste on the camera. I think it makes sense I get time to have a think, and I'll come back and give my comments. Okay, some quick comments. So Tassimo scored the intensity of this coffee as a 3 out of 7, and they mark that by the number of beans on the actual packet itself. Personally, I will give it my own kind of strength rating as I go through my scoring system, but it's 3 out of 7 in their context. Aroma, smell, really nice, so a good 6-7 for that. The acidity, not too much, but you could feel it was a good coffee in the mouth, so a good 6 for that. Mouthfeel, because of the crema, I always score these a little bit high, so a good 7. the flavour and the aftertaste. So the flavour itself though was a little bit medium-y, kind of weak, slightly watery taste, I'm afraid to say. So it wasn't as strong as I'd expected with a nice strong rich aroma. The aftertaste was actually stronger, a little bit more bitter, a bit of smoky undertone. So overall balance, a little bit thin and weak. Overall I'm going to give this a 5. I'd say it's lacking, but it's okay. Certainly it's not a bad coffee, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's going to become one of my top 3 coffees in the house. Certainly not going to throw these away, certainly going to drink these and enjoy these. They're probably going to be a good coffee, not for perhaps late evening, perhaps a better one for breakfast. So I could well believe that being a kind of lighter coffee for earlier in the day. And now the Carte Noire Crema Intenso. Let's zoom in again. Again, another nice frothy head. So this just comes straight out of the machine, and I'll give it a quick stir and let you have a look at the spoon. I'm deliberately over stirring it to give you the feeling for the side of the mug froth as well. But as you can see there, plenty of froth, good thickness. Okay, I've not drunk all of it because I've got quite a lot of coffee to go. This one, the aroma actually slightly less, so I'm giving it 5, kind of 6. Acidity, the same kind of 6-7 area. Mouthfeel good, again, because it's the frothy, the creamer. I'm going to give this a good solid 7. Stronger flavour, very nice and velvety. Aftertaste, smooth, certainly no bitterness at all, and smoky, and definitely a bit of smokiness coming through here. Very easy to drink, very quaffable. I'm going to give this overall a kind of 6, so I think this is a nice coffee. And I guess if I were to give it my kind of comment, I think I'm going to say it's a little bit reminiscent of hot burnt Guinness in a nice way. I don't know if you can imagine that. I don't know if that actually is helpful or not, but it's got a very nice, deep, dark flavour. I'm not saying it's malty, I'm not saying it tastes like beer, but there's something very nice, smoothie, and very quaffable. This goes on my like list. I think this is going to be a great evening coffee. The Tassimo intensity score that they gave this is a 5 out of 7. So they rank this as one of their more intense coffee flavours. And it's an interesting one. So it is stronger, it has got a stronger flavour, but it's got a nice lingering aftertaste. So I think that one goes down very well, recommended. Okay, our first Jacobs. Let's just zoom in again. And as you can see, another froth, which I'm all in favour of. I'm going to give this a nice aggressive stir again, deliberately bringing the coffee up the sides. So it's not a huge portion, not as thick on the spoon, but still good. I'd still say that's an enjoyable froth. In fact, now I think that is, having given it a second dunk, I'd say that's a good thick froth again. Really pleased about this one. So the Tassimo rating intensity as they give it is a 3 out of 7. So it's got 3 beans out of the possible 7. The aroma's a little bit lower than the previous 2 Carte Noire ones. So I'm going to give that a kind of 5. The acidity is a little bit higher in the tongue, 7. Mouthfeel again, a good 7. I almost want to give this one 7.5. It just has something thicker and really kind of almost creamy about it. But I'll stick with the 7. Now the flavour and the aftertaste, really good. Slightly biscuity maybe, very slightly fruity maybe, but a very good coffee. Really nice, certainly well balanced, and I'm going to give this the highest score overall so far, so I'm giving it a 7. This, although it's slightly small portion because it's only 150ml, really nice. It's a very nice luxurious coffee. And I'm rating this one quite highly, so very nice, well done Jacobs. One other thing that I think is worth a note is this one is Rainforest Alliance certified, so that's a little bit nicer for the growers and the farmers and the deals for the countries where the growing of these beans is done. So I think that gets them an extra little half-point thumbs up somewhere. So well done Jacobs, really nice coffee, recommended. Okay, the second Jacobs. Now this one I have had before, some months ago, and I know I like it. Let's just zoom in, and hopefully my opinions today will remain the same, but let's see how it compares to the other coffees. So again, let's do the stir test. Let's give that a good stir. Again, a really nice froth. I'm gonna just do that again. Yeah, that's a good thick creamer again, sticking to the spoon quite nicely, and the side of the mug. I am washing the mug each time I do these. Okay, so Tassimo give that intensity a 5 out of 7, so 5 beans out of 7. The aroma is quite good, so I'm giving it a sort of 5, 5.5 for aroma. Acidity, 7, a good, nice feel and taste in the mouth. The feel of them in the mouth, the froth doesn't quite last as long as some of the early ones, so I'm going to have to give this a little bit lower than my normal 7 and give it 6.5, but the froth is certainly there, don't get me wrong. The flavour and the aftertaste. It's a good, hearty, strong taste. It's smooth and not bitter. So I think it's a really nice coffee. Again, give it a good overall balance. Now I've got to give it, I was going to give this another 7, but I'll be honest, I can't quite score it the same as this because I really did enjoy that. So I'm going to have to give this a 6.5, which is still a good coffee, really good recommendation. Okay, this is the Jacobs Monarch, and the first one that hasn't got any head at all, so that's pretty fresh, as you can see by the steam and the moisture on the glass cup. I'm going to give it a stir just so that you can see there's really no froth creation going on there. And onto the taste test. Okay, for me this is not the top marking Jacobs coffee. They give it an intensity measure of 3 out of 7. Personally, I think the aroma's a little bit lacking. It's 5. More acidity in the mouth, so I'm going to give that an 8. The feeling overall though is just, it's got no froth at all. There's no real texture to it. It's warm coffee at the end of the day, so 4. Flavour and aftertaste. Very slightly fruity. It's got a bit of smokiness to it, which is I think the first one of the Jacobs that has a kind of smoky aftertaste mostly, but a slightly metallic undertone. So that's not uncommon in coffee, but I think in this one it doesn't quite work. So there's a very, very subtle smokiness, slight metallic taste, slight fruity. So it's trying to be a little bit of everything. So balance is okay. There's certainly no overbearing particular taste coming out of this, but overall I can only give this 5 out of 10. It's just really not my cup of tea, pun intended. Okay, back to Carte Noire. We are getting size-wise into kind of double espresso kind of territory now. Okay, let's zoom in and give this a stir. As you can see, there's a nice frothy head. Let's just see if it lingers. It's running off the glass side a little bit more than some of the others, but no, that's good. Good froth on the spoon there. That was really quite nice and different. So aroma, nothing overbearing. I'm going to give that a 5. Bit more acidity in the mouth, so going into the kind of 8-9 area. Mouthfeel, good froth, not as thick as some, so 6-7. Flavour and aftertaste. Now, this really did have a kind of different fruity but woody, earthy, loamy kind of taste. Really quite interesting. Maybe mildly smoky, slightly salty. All in all, very good complex taste. That's rather nice. So overall, I'd say that's a good coffee. I'm going to give it a good 6.5, going close to 7 again. Really quite enjoyed that. I think that would be nice to drink on its own. I don't think you necessarily need that after a lunch or with food. I think that's a really nice standalone. Has quite distinctive and different flavours. So yeah, that gets a recommendation. I think that's going to be a regular as well. So that's really quite different. Recommend that one. We're on the final coffee now. Let's zoom in. I'm glad to say it's got a head and a froth again. Let's just get the spoon in for a stir. Again, I'm going for a kind of crazy stir, just really trying to show you the froth. And there it is on the spoon. Let's do that once more. Felt a little bit thin. A little bit thin maybe, but that's a good cream. Another good coffee. Okay, so aroma, again a little bit lacking, so only a 5 there. Acidity in the mouth, an 8, slightly less than the previous one. Feel in the mouth, 6-7, because again the froth just not as thick as some of them can be. And the flavour and aftertaste. So this one's definitely very, very smooth. There's no bitterness at all. You've lost the kind of smokiness. You've got the fruitiness. It's a really nice, good, complex coffee taste. with no real remarkable negatives or strengths, apart from the fact it's extremely smooth. So it's a good coffee, no bitterness. They rate it as a 4 out of 7 coffee bean strength, which is the same as the previous one. So both of these Carte Noire Voluptuoso, I can't say that. Voluptuoso, no, I'm not really saying that at all. I've really murdered quite a lot of the pronunciation in this video, so I do apologise. But again, on balance, it's good. Overall, I'm only going to give it 6.5. I'm certainly not going to give it the highest accolade because I think the previous coffee had all those kind of differences that were quite novel. And although this Kenya blend is very good, it's not remarkable enough for me to give any higher score, but a very good coffee. Okay, 7 coffees later, and obviously my views are only my own, and there's nothing professional about my tastes or my explanations of the tastes and aromas. I haven't got a particularly skilled nose or taste buds, and I've never done professional tasting, so they are just my views. So apologies if they don't fit in with your own. Hopefully though, what this has done is given you a feeling that the Tassimo internet exclusive offers are worth trying. So certainly worth subscribing just to get the monthly email, and if there's a good bargain or an offer comes up, I'd certainly give it a go. Both the Jacobs and the Carte Noire range really are quite nice, and although they're not available in the shops here in the UK, certainly, they're certainly now on my list. So these two at the back are my top rated based on my scores. So they both get a 7 out of 10 in my books. These are good 6s, and certainly these 3, whenever there's an offer on, I'm going to be buying these. Even though they're slightly smaller quantities, I think some of the special offers and the fact that these are a little bit cheaper anyway, I think they can still be worthwhile, even though, I'll be honest, that Colombia, I'm going to probably be tempted to have 2 in a cup. It was very tasty, but certainly that's something to keep an eye on regarding value. The 2 on the right, however, just not for me. Fine as coffees go, but there's something lacking in the kind of taste area that I expect or I want in a coffee. Everyone's coffee tastes are different. I'm a bit of a Costa fan, I'm a bit of a Caffè Crema fan, and I also like the kind of fruitiness of the Colombian that's already available in the shops. So the 3 that I've been having all the time perhaps give you a feeling and an impression of the kind of coffees that I already go for, and hopefully that this gives you a reasonable balanced view and gives you a bit of confidence to try some of these coffees out, especially some of the mixture sets that they do. They do kind of coffee bundles, etc. sometimes throughout the year, so can certainly recommend giving those a go. I hope you found this video useful. I hope it helps with your purchasing decisions. Please feel free to like, subscribe and comment.